webinar. My name is Jackson Bigley. I'm a GPS GIS specialist here at Electronic Data Solutions. And we're going to talk today about the Trimble Positions software and how you can use it with some of the more common GIS workflows to help you collect high accuracy GNSS data in the field. If you have any questions, please log those into the question portion of the webinar, and we can take a look at those toward the end. For those of you who are not familiar with our company, Electronic Data Solutions, we've been in business over 26 years. We specialize in hardware and software solutions for field data collection, and also includes technical support, training, and repair services. We have a home office in Jerome, Idaho. We have field offices in the western portion of the U.S. My office is in Montana, and I cover Montana, Wyoming, parts of Idaho, and eastern Washington for our company. Moving along right into the Trimble Positions software. So how does Trimble Positions work? Well, with ArcGIS, you have the Positions desktop add-in that gives you the ability to interact with the geodatabase. You can add GPS data to the geodatabase. It's called GNSS enabling the geodatabase. You have a project wizard, which lets you interact between the geodatabase and some of the workflows that you want to use in the field, whether it's ArcGIS Mobile, ArcPad, Terasync, or Teraflex. In the case of ArcPad and ArcGIS Mobile, people often use Positions to bring the data back, check it in to the geodatabase, and then post-process the data to improve the positional accuracy. So there's different workflows, different elements of how you use Positions. As we get towards the end of the slides, I'll do a live demonstration which will help clarify some of those different workflows and how Positions is used with the geodatabase and GIS. There's some new features in Positions. For example, it now has support for ArcGIS Online, hosted feature services, and this is a real-time workflow. So that means essentially that you're publishing data up to ArcGIS Online. Your feature classes, you've got them now hosted on the server. And then you use Positions to configure that service so that you can have a real-time correction. So when you get the data in ArcGIS Mobile, you have a real-time correction set up automatically. So it might be that you have a statewide network, a VRS network, and ArcGIS Mobile would automatically know to configure and use that. You can also set up an accuracy threshold so you can help control the data that's being collected in the field and whether it meets your accuracy requirements. New Positions has support for mean sea level feature height. Before, it was always height above ellipsoid when using ArcPad or ArcGIS Mobile. And in this case, you can now add a geoid model and collect mean sea level elevation. There's automated post-processing through the session processor with Positions. And essentially what that allows you to do is configure for a specific Positions project the check-in, the post-processing, and the updating of the geodatabase. That can all be handled behind the scenes to make things more efficient for you. Positions has support for ArcGIS 10.3, includes the new project wizard. I'll show you here in a little bit. And it has workflow support for both Teraflex and Terasync. The primary workflows for Positions include Teraflex, Terasync, ArcPad, and ArcGIS for Windows Mobile. So on the left you have ArcGIS for desktop, and with that you have the Positions desktop extension that runs right inside of ArcGIS. That's connected to your file, personal, or enterprise geodatabase. So in the Teraflex workflow, you're basically publishing data from ArcGIS using Positions up to the InSphere cloud. And the InSphere cloud then allows Teraflex user in the field with an internet connection to pull down the projects that pertain to them. They can do that on a number of different devices, including phones and tablets. In a Terasync workflow, you can publish using Positions a data dictionary that has the schema. Basically, a data dictionary includes some of the geodatabase schemas, such as your pick list, things that you want in collecting attributes in the field. And you can actually bring the TerraSync data back and check it back into the geodatabase. Traditionally, TerraSync was handled in a Pathfinder Office workflow, and now they've integrated that workflow directly in Positions right in ArcGIS. ArcPad would include the Positions ArcPad extension that allows you to post-process data. From Positions on the desktop, you can check out an ArcPad project. You can set up some of your different accuracy thresholds, GNSS metadata, which I'll describe in a moment, and then check that data back. In ArcGIS Mobile, you have 3 different workflows. You can have a manual workflow where you save out a mobile cache from the desktop and copy that over to the handheld device. Or you can publish to ArcGIS for server, or you can publish up to ArcGIS Online as a hosted feature service, and then in the field you can consume that data with ArcGIS Mobile. A little bit more about the Positions workflow, a couple important items here. On the right, you can see where it says metadata. So metadata is essentially, this is referring to GNSS metadata. So it's the horizontal estimated accuracy of your position and the vertical estimated accuracy of your position. Those get carried all the way forward and can be stored in the geodatabase with your features. So you go out with, say, ArcPad, and you collect a bunch of data with GNSS in the field. You come back and say you automate that process with the sessions processor. It gets put into the geodatabase, and then as a GIS tech, you can go into the geodatabase and look at that metadata to make sure that you got the kind of accuracy you were after for those different features, and you could flag some accuracies that were too high or not to the right standard. The Positions workflow includes creating maps and forms. So that's your basic GIS. You have your geodatabase, your feature classes, your domains, and your geodatabase schema, essentially. You can publish that up to a server in that type of workflow, or you can create offline data sets, and then you can author and configure projects that get packaged and deployed to a handheld device in the field, or they get uploaded to ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS server and then consumed by a handheld in the field. And in the field, you collect the data and then you synchronize it back to the geodatabase, or in some cases, back to a server like ArcGIS Online. One of the things that Positions allows you to do is GNSS enable the geodatabase so that it can store GNSS data. So that it can store the metadata, and it can store the feature height and that information. When you author those projects, you set accuracy thresholds for features to make sure that they meet a specific accuracy, and you select field configurations. So if you want to have real-time correction in the field, you set those configurations so that it automatically sets up and configures and uses, say, a statewide VRS or a Trimble RTX service or integrated SBAS. And that gives you the ability to collect the best possible GNS data in the field, and it helps you verify your accuracy as it gets put into the geodatabase. Using ArcGIS Online hosted feature services is a really nice part of the new Position. So from Positions desktop, you can essentially publish a feature class up to ArcGIS Online as a feature service. And as part of that, when you build out the ArcGIS Mobile project, that's going to basically use the ArcGIS Online feature service as an operational layer. You have some controls. You can add an accuracy threshold. So for each layer, you can specify the accuracy, and when you're in the field with ArcGIS Mobile, it will prompt you if you haven't met that accuracy threshold. You have the option here to override the accuracy threshold for the project. So if you're out collecting data, you're under a bunch of tree canopy, let's say, and it's very hard to reach 1 or 2 meters of accuracy, you can override and it will still let you collect the data. Down at the bottom are your various field configurations for real-time corrections. And depending on which of those you choose, that gets stored with the ArcGIS Mobile project. And then ArcGIS Mobile in the field will automatically search and be set up for real-time correction based on that configuration that you choose. The Positions Session Processor, we've talked about this a little bit, but it's a really handy new tool to automate the process of collecting GNSS data, session data in the field. So you can actually automate the checking in and the post-processing and updating of geometries. It runs very similar to what you've seen before. If you've done any post-processing, it records that same type of information. And then it runs on a specific interval that you set, runs in the background, and this is ArcGIS Mobile supported ArcPad and Teraflex. All right, we're going to jump into a demonstration here of some of this here shortly. One of the things I want to make sure you have is our contact information. So here's my contact information from my office here in Missoula. And we also have Jim Long. His office is in Portland, Oregon. Chase Fly is in Jerome, Idaho. And Sean Minton is in Sacramento, California. So depending on where you live, one of these sales reps can help you out. You can always ping me directly and I can get you in contact with the right person or answer any questions you might have. All right, now we're going to jump over into ArcGIS. And we're going to take a look at ArcGIS here with the Positions desktop. Okay, so I want to do a live demonstration and show you how Positions interacts with the different GIS workflows and how you can use Positions for ArcPad, ArcGIS Mobile, Teraflex, and Terasync all together. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Let's open up Positions here. And let's take a look at the different projects that we have set up. So we have ArcPad project that you can see, ArcGIS Mobile project, Teraflex, and Terasync. Let's go ahead and create a new project with the new project wizard in the new position. Okay, so this is the project wizard, and you can see here the different options that you have for the different project types. You have the option to create an ArcGIS for Windows Mobile project, ArcPad project, Teraflex, Terasync, and some other options as well. Let's start with the ArcGIS for Windows Mobile. So this project's already been set up to use, the database has already been set up to use with Positions. Okay, so I have some different synchronization workflows. I can either synchronize with a mobile cache on the desktop, I can synchronize with ArcGIS Server, or I can synchronize with ArcGIS Online. In this case, let's use the desktop function and create a mobile cache. That basically takes your feature services or your featured classes you have available and creates a mobile cache that we can use in the field. All right, so we'll pick a location for this mobile cache. And we'll get that created. Okay, so a mobile cache was successfully created. All the different features, in this case they're trees, 19 of them were put into that mobile cache and that information now available. Now to use a mobile cache, right in Positions, we can automatically launch the Mobile Project Center, the Esri Mobile Project Center, so we can build out our ArcGIS Mobile project. All right, we'll start with the new project. And we'll add in the mobile cache as an operational layer. There's our mobile cache. Let's open that up. Okay, there's our existing information for our trees that we're going to use for our tree inspection. one of the things I want to do is just set the project extent. And then let's take a look at what Positions does here for the workflow. So with Trimble Positions, I can set up a couple different things. One is I can specify that I want to use a geoid model so that I can have mean sea level elevation. So this is the part right here where you select this and put in the geoid model. For our layers, I can set our accuracy threshold. So in this case, I'm going to use a 1 meter accuracy threshold for the trees that we collect in the field. I can allow the user to override if he can't reach that accuracy threshold. You can override that. And I want to use SBAS as our real-time correction source in the field. Okay, I'll come up here and save this as an ArcGIS Mobile project. Give it a name. Specify that it's trees, and it's a tree inspection. And say OK. And that ArcGIS Mobile project has now been successfully created. All right. One of the things I have to do now that I've created that is I actually need to associate that new project, this ArcGIS Mobile project we just created, with this specific ArcGIS project. So I'll set the MXD to tie back to that ArcGIS Mobile project so that we can basically bring data back and synchronize it back into this geodatabase. All right. So now the steps would be you copy that folder I just created called AGM_6. That would be copied over to the handheld. Okay? So on the handheld, you'd be able to have your projects. This is ArcGIS Mobile. And so I could open up one of these projects, say this one right here. It tells me that it's enabled for high accuracy mapping. That's great. That's what we want to see. All right, so in the field, if I wanted to collect some features in this project, this is one of the things that Positions brings to ArcGIS Mobile. Notice when we first opened that, it said that the accuracy had not been achieved. It also says my current accuracy is actually about 9 meters. I'm requiring 2 meters of accuracy, and right now, after post-processing, I'm just under 2 meters. So it's going to let me, it knows I'm in a post-processing workflow, so it's going to let me collect the data. And now, in this case, it's actually saying we've bumped up a little bit. In that case, I'll have to override the accuracy, and then that will allow me to go ahead and log the position. If we can get it to log here. Not sure I have enough satellites. Okay, so I'm able to log a feature. It's actually not counting yet. It should be. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this one. We can try it again. Let me jump back here. Get set up on the right screen. should let me log it, even though this device is sitting in my office. I think I have enough satellites. It should let me log a feature. So for some reason it's not letting me. We'll jump out of here. So when you collect that information in the field, you can then bring that information directly back into Positions. So let me show you that. I should already have some data available to show you that. So coming back, if I were to close out of ArcGIS Mobile, come back into the office, and open up Positions and specify a specific project. Make it the current project, and I can go and check to see if there's any new data. I can synchronize a mobile cache. Okay. I have to search and find where I put a mobile cache. In this case, I've already checked in this information, but it was successfully synchronized. So this information is going back into the geodatabase. So one nice thing about in the geodatabase is it's recording, it's bringing those features directly in, but it's also recording the metadata. So that for the features I'm recording in the field with ArcGIS Mobile, it's recording the horizontal estimated accuracy and the vertical accuracy and the feature height. That gets brought in and stored right in the table. And so you have that for as long as you want in the geodatabase. You can use that information to verify if you think you have enough accuracy for those features. And you can flag ones, like maybe this one on the bottom, that's not as accurate as you might want. Okay, so that's the ArcGIS Mobile workflow using mobile cache. Let's go back into Positions here. Okay, we also have a ArcGIS Mobile functionality for ArcGIS Online. So if I went back to there, ArcGIS for Windows Mobile, I can also publish a feature, or take a feature class and publish it as a hosted feature service to ArcGIS Online. Okay, so I've already done that. What that allows me to do, and you can see this one right here, which is the workspace is ArcGIS Online. That's already been set up. So what that allows me to do is on the handheld, I can open up ArcGIS Mobile. Go ahead and open up that project. So this project is tied directly to, the data for this project is tied directly to ArcGIS Online. So it's enabled for high accuracy mapping in a real-time workflow. That means essentially what I want to do is I want to use ArcGIS Online, or excuse me, ArcGIS Mobile in the field. I want to use a correction source like SBAS, Trimble RTX, single base, or VRS, so that I can get good accuracy because the data is going directly back to the Esri server for ArcGIS Online. We go ahead and log into ArcGIS Online. That's gonna allow me to pull down and move data back and forth. And it's asking me if I want to download data. I can do that. In this case, I could download what trees we have in the database on ArcGIS Online. It won't download any attachments. Attachments would be things like, typically it's pictures that people are taking. So the download was successful. You can view the map. So the map has all the features in it. Those were just pulled directly down from ArcGIS Online. And if I wanted to go ahead and map some new features, one problem I have is just getting a position here real quick. Hopefully it will connect pretty rapidly because I've had this unit. It's sitting in my office on my desk, but it should connect to some satellites pretty quickly. It's been working pretty well to do that. It makes it a little easier to show you how this works if it does connect to some, give us a position here shortly. So we'll give it just about a minute, see what happens. So it's going to tell us in the field that we don't have a position yet. I could pick it on the map view if I wanted. Okay, we got a position coming in. It's 11 meters, so that's why. So with positions in ArcGIS Mobile, it's telling us that our accuracy is not achieved. So it's a nice feature. Okay. We have the ability to override, like I showed you before, or we have to essentially wait. If we wait, in this case I'm collecting data, but my current accuracy is about 7 or 8 meters. But it is letting me collect the position. Okay. Record the information I want. All right, so I've recorded that information with ArcGIS Mobile. I'll tell it I don't want to collect any more data. And then that information automatically can be synchronized back to ArcGIS Online. So let's go ahead and upload the tree we collected. Uploading to the server. That single tree should be pretty fast. And that upload was succeeded. So that information went directly to ArcGIS Online in that hosted feature service. And using positions, we were able to configure that so that it used, one, a real-time correction source, so the accuracy was good. And two, we set up an accuracy threshold so it knew to prompt us if we didn't have the accuracy that we wanted. We had set up an accuracy threshold of 1 meter, and we were far above that, but I was able to override that. All right. So we have other workflows here. We have an ArcPad workflow in positions. So with an ArcPad workflow, we have, it's pretty similar actually in how you set this up. So for your tree layer, you want to be able to record your metadata. That gets returned to the geodatabase. You want to be able to put in a accuracy threshold. We'll use the 1 meter. You have the option here to add a geoid model, so you actually get mean sea level elevations, which is ultimately what you want, instead of height above ellipsoid. So that's new with positions as well, ability to use the geoid model. And we'll save that project. Okay. So with that project being saved, if I set that as the current project with positions, now I have the ability, here's different sessions that have come in from ArcPad, people working in the field on a Geo 7X. These are different sessions that people have brought in. They've already been updated into the geodatabase. But now I could create a new checkout. Check out a folder with this information to use in the field. Okay, check the information out. Now you'll notice that I'll have a folder right here with the new checkout. So that folder essentially would be copied and moved over to the handheld. And pasted onto the handheld, gets copied over, so then someone can take that handheld into the field. And now we're in an ArcPad workflow. So we're using positions for a couple different things here in ArcPad. One, we're using it on the desktop to set up the metadata, accuracy thresholds, configure the project, deploy the project to the handheld. In the field, we're using the Positions ArcPad extension. That's allowing us to monitor our GPS accuracy, configure and set up a real-time correction, and it logs the data in the background so that we can come back and post-process the data. Okay, so let's take a look at this project real quick. Connect to GPS, and then we have our positions residing in ArcPad, which gives us a nice sky plot, shows us the number of satellites we're going to be tracking. And once we start seeing some satellites, it'll tell us information about our accuracy, which is really valuable in the field. All right, so that's the ArcPad workflow. And that information, once you collected data in ArcPad, you would come back and you would actually be able to, in Positions here, you'd be able to come back and check in the data from ArcPad, bring it directly back into the geodatabase. Once it's in the geodatabase, you would be able to correct it. These have already been corrected and updated. If I wanted to actually take the session, I could recorrect it. And I'll give you an idea of how it works. So I brought in the session from the field, and I want to post-process this information. And for those people that use Pathfinder Office, this probably looks very similar to what you've seen before. Just going out, downloading the file, doing the post-processing, and it's complete. So it says it's waiting for verification. The reason for that is that one of the features had an invalid geometry, and the other one is above the accuracy threshold. Okay, so for that one, this one I'll leave that one alone, and this one we've already got an exception created. So it should be fine, and we can take and update these features, and one of them has now been added into the geodatabase. So that one's already been done. That gives you some idea of how Positions interacts with ArcPad. Now, Teraflex, essentially what we're doing with Positions interacting with Teraflex is that we're publishing right here directly to the InSphere cloud, the same feature layer right here, create a project, and finish it. Okay, so that's getting, at that point, that information just got published to the InSphere cloud. That allows me in the field okay, so in the field, what that allows me to do is open up another workflow, which is Teraflex. Let me go ahead and log in. Okay, so within Teraflex, I have my different projects, you can see. And one of them is this specific project, so I could go ahead and map the tree. Waiting for a position to get generated here. We can pick up some satellites pretty quickly. While we're waiting on that, one of the things I can do is if I don't have GPS, I'll just mark a point on the map. Okay, let's say we're doing a tree inspection right there. And it's ponderosa pine. What kind of condition it needs to be removed. I could take a picture if we needed to. We won't do that right now. So we have our information. Okay. That information is automatically being synchronized to the Teraflex cloud or to the Teraflex server. That form is being uploaded. Okay, that sync is complete. So now if I come out of Teraflex and back into the office, and I make that my current project, what Positions can do for you now is it allows you to download that information from the Teraflex server. So 2 forms have been downloaded for, I think I had one that was already on there from earlier. And there's our new trees that were part of the, that we can now download. Okay, so those have now been automatically added into the geodatabase, 36 and 37. These are the 2 I just did right here. Okay. The advantage of that is I use Positions to publish to the Teraflex cloud. I went out with a device like a phone or a tablet, collected data with Teraflex, brought it back, and then was able to bring it with Positions right back into the geodatabase. One thing I wanted just to touch on briefly here is then that session processor I mentioned early on. That is where a lot of these tasks can be automated and configured for your different projects. So I have a bunch of different projects here, like the one we were just working on. I can go in and I can set up and configure how I want that to work behind the scenes. I can check in data right here. I have to put in some information about where those are located. It wants me to differentially correct. I've got my processing profile or update the features, etc. So a lot of this can run in the background and really help you be more efficient. All right. Let's see if we had any questions here. Looks like we don't. We've covered a lot of information about how Positions interact and how it works with these more common GIS workflows. If you have additional questions, please, you have my contact information. Send me an email or give me a call and I can help you out, answer your questions, and I can also get you in contact with whichever sales rep works in your area, depending on where you're from. So thanks again for attending the webinar. I hope it was useful for you. I hope you learned what you need to learn about Positions. And please feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Thank you.